Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem with agents today in the Twin Cities as they arrest a man they identify as Tomas Espintapia, an illegal immigrant convicted of robbery and wanted for murder and sexual assault in his home country of Ecuador.
Like no other time in our state's history, because of a petty, vile administration that doesn't care about the well-being of Minnesotans.
The 28th of January, 2026, 3 hours. The air in Minneapolis doesn't just bite, it stings. A brutal Arctic front has locked the city in a frozen cage, sending temperatures plummeting to a bone-chilling 6 degrees Fahrenheit. Under the pale, flickering glow of the streetlights near the Whipple Federal Building, the atmosphere is thick with more than just freezing fog. It is heavy with the scent of an impending catastrophic clash.
Minnesota is the target for what ICE is calling its largest immigration enforcement operation ever. 2,000 agents are reportedly in the state to arrest immigrants here illegally with a focus on criminals.
And in regard to that, Governor Walz has some pretty strong words about what's happening.
For weeks, the streets of this American metropolis have been a theater of mounting tension. Following a series of high-stakes, aggressive federal operations by ICE and Department of Homeland Security units, the city has become a strategic tinderbox. Thousands have gathered in the biting wind, their breath visible in the air like smoke from a battlefield. They are here to protest, their fury directed at the 2,000 federal agents stationed behind the reinforced glass and steel of the government complex. The antagonists in this unfolding drama are the federal tactical units, seen by many local leaders as an outside force encroaching on sovereign state soil. They are equipped with heavy-duty riot gear, advanced thermal imaging, and a mandate of uncompromising federal enforcement. The hubris of Washington's reach has finally met the immovable object of local resistance.
Being here in Minnesota, harassing them, if you want us to fix fraud, come and help us. Come and help us do that. They're not interested in that.
But DHS says they're protecting Minnesotans with the operation, adding that cities with sanctuary protections like Minneapolis attract illegal immigrants who hide in.
These agents believe their badge grants them total authority, but they have ignored the storm brewing in the shadows. The federal equipment is formidable, specifically designed for high-intensity urban control. We are talking about Lenco Bearcat armored vehicles, equipped with acoustic hailing devices that can shatter eardrums at close range. The agents carry 40mm launchers, capable of firing direct impact munitions that hit with the force of a professional boxer's punch. They felt invincible, protected by their armor and their federal mandates, assuming the local population would eventually break under the pressure of their 3,000-person arrest quota.
The Trump administration is also increasing the pressure on Minnesota. In light of the state's recent child care fraud scandal, this week, thousands of immigration agents were sent to the Twin Cities, but some say they're concerned about overreach. Jared Hill brings us the latest.
But as the clock ticks toward dawn, a new player enters the perimeter, a force that changes the entire geometry of the battlefield. The Minnesota National Guard, deployed by Governor Tim Walz. These are not distant federal agents. These are neighbors, citizen soldiers. They arrive not in black tactical armor, but in high-visibility neon vests draped over their OCP uniforms.
What's your name? We want to help. No! Get back. Ma'am, get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Please get back. Get back. Ma'am, get back. Please. Please, I'm begging you, get back. Ma'am, I'm asking this last time I tell you. Last time I tell you. Public property.
Their equipment is standard issue, but their objective is anything but typical. There is a deep tactical mystery unfolding here that most mainstream cameras missed. Why did 5,000 National Guard troops move into a formation that effectively neutralized the federal firing line? We will reveal the strategic reason behind this maneuver in just a few moments. While the 2,000 federal agents remain hunkered down, peering through night vision optics and preparing for a massive breach, the National Guard moves with a different kind of precision.
Well, on to this. As Brooke mentioned, the FBI director, he's now leading the federal investigation into the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy. It's actually, I should note, HSI, and FBI is in charge of the physical evidence, which they have custody of. We spoke with FBI Director Kash Patel about this and a whole lot more, like a decline in homicides. And get this, mass shootings and school shootings across the country.
They aren't brandishing batons or loading rubber bullets. Instead, they are unloading crates from the back of heavy-duty Humvees. The sound of boots on frozen pavement usually signals a charge, but tonight, it signals something that has left federal observers speechless. In the shadows of the building, under the watchful eyes of federal snipers on the rooftops, the Guard begins their hidden countermeasure. It isn't a weapon system designed to... It is a tactical olive branch that functions as a psychological trap. Steam begins to rise from large industrial thermos containers.
Let's bring in FBI Director Kash Patel, who joins me now. Director Patel, I want to start with the news, and the news is out of Fulton County, Georgia. I know this is an ongoing investigation, but the FBI on Wednesday did obtain a search warrant to look at this Fulton County election hub to access physical ballots, electronic ballot images, and voter rolls. Is there anything you can share?
The smell of fresh coffee begins to cut through the metallic, cold scent of the city air. The National Guard isn't preparing to strike the protesters. They are preparing to protect the peace in a way the federal government never anticipated. The tension is at a breaking point. On one side, the federal mandate. On the other, a community pushed to the edge. And in the middle, the National Guard, waiting, watching.
On the streets of Minnesota's Twin Cities, a surge of immigration agents like never before. In Minneapolis, a CBS News exclusive as we followed agents closing in.
Hey, Kaylee, it's great to be with you. Look, like any other investigation, the FBI follows the facts and the law, and President Trump and the Attorney General have given us clear mandate to reduce crime in this country and investigate anything that rises to the level of probable cause. And what we did, the FBI, with our partners at the Department of Justice and the AG, let out on an extensive effort to conduct interviews and an investigation, which led us to a probable cause to be delivered to a judge who found probable cause for us to execute that search warrant, which you saw and the nation saw yesterday. And what we did was what we do in any other investigation. We went in there.
The silence is broken only by the sound of a plastic cup being filled, and the first shot is about to be fired. The silence is broken only by the sound of a plastic cup being filled, and then the shockwave hits. It isn't an explosion of gunpowder, but an explosion of strategic defiance that reverberates through the DHS command frequency on the thermal monitors. Federal officers watch in pure disbelief as the Minnesota National Guard breaks the tactical line. But they aren't charging the protesters.
And by all means, you have been a resounding success. Homicides down to the lowest rate since 1900. Never thought I would see this when I was in Administration 1, the Summer of Love, they called it. And now look at these numbers.
They are walking calmly toward the crowd, cool arms filled with hot chocolate and boxes of donuts. This is the exact moment the trap snaps shut. A high-level psychological maneuver designed to de-escalate a city on the absolute brink of civil war.
Mass shootings down to the lowest point in 20 years. I found out today, school shootings, the lowest point in 5 years. And as a mother, I'm very grateful to the work you guys have done here. I found this headline, New York City. There was supposed to be a school shooting. A young man posted on Instagram that he was going to shoot up a school. The
sensory details on the ground are jarring. The hiss of steam from the coffee thermoses, the rhythmic crunch of frozen snow under heavy boots, and the sudden, eerie silence of the protesters as they realize the Guard is not there to crush them. On the enemy radio, there is pure panic. Federal agents, shielded behind ballistic glass, drones deployed by the state begin broadcasting live feeds directly to the governor's office, bypassing federal encryption. These are AeroVironment Puma systems, equipped with Mantis I-45 electro-optical infrared gimbals. They see everything, every federal agent's position, every movement inside the building. It is all being recorded and transmitted in real time. The chaos in the enemy ranks is palpable. The 2,000 federal agents now find themselves strategically isolated within their own perimeter. Their aggressive tactics, their flashbangs, and batons have been rendered obsolete by a simple, powerful act of human connection. The invincible federal perimeter is now being dismantled by the very people sworn to protect the state.
How do we go about our day-to-day lives when ICE is terrorizing the city?
A sentiment shared by many throughout Minnesota. Today, ICE Out is a theme to make their voices heard. A nationwide shutdown with no work, no school, and no shopping. An event Michael McDowell with Sammy's Eatery in North Minneapolis wanted to fully support.
Tensions flare when a group of pro-federal agitators attempts to breach the line from the eastern flank. The National Guard responds with a non-kinetic barrier maneuver. They use their transport vehicles, the massive Oshkosh LATVs, to create a physical wall between the opposing groups. The sheer size of these machines, coupled with the calm discipline of the soldiers,
hoagie, and that was absolutely terrific.
Community members like Carolyn James, who stopped at Sammy's with her family on her way to the anti-ICE march in downtown Minneapolis,
creates a barrier that no amount of anger can penetrate. Inside the federal building, the panic turns into frustration. They had planned for a riot. They had prepared for a bloodbath. But they were facing a professional military force that refused to play by their rules. The tension reaches a peak as a federal hatch opens on the second floor. A riot launcher is leveled, and the guard commander steps directly into the line of fire. He raises his hand, a universal signal to halt.
When a federal task force swarmed Cuatro Milpas on Lake Street, a large crowd quickly gathered to protest what they thought was the arrest of undocumented immigrants.
Behind him, 5,000 troops stand in silent formation. The message is clear. The state of Minnesota will not be intimidated. The world holds its breath as the federal agent's finger hovers over the trigger. The federal agent's finger hovers over the trigger, but the shot never comes. The guard commander's unwavering presence.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry we were a little bit late. I was in the West Wing swearing in Tulsi Gabbard, and so I just came straight back here. So thanks for being patient with us with the delay. We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment.
Combined with the massive industrial strength of the Minnesota National Guard standing like a wall of iron, forces the federal hand. This is the total neutralization phase, where the target isn't a person, but the federal agenda of escalation itself. Using superior technological positioning and vehicle perimeters, the Guard units established what military analysts call a buffer zone of sovereignty. This wasn't just about handing out donuts. It was about the physical occupation of the space between a desperate federal agency.
New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. With me today, I'm so proud to be joined by Tammy Nobles. Tammy is an angel mom. Her beautiful daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered by an MS-13 member in 2022. Kayla had just turned 20 years old, and she was raped and murdered.
And an angry populace. By establishing this zone, they effectively boxed in the federal agents, preventing the 3,000-person arrest quota from being filled through violence. Now, we perform the technical autopsy of this standoff. Why did the hero's strategy win? It's simple. Intelligence-led de-escalation. By using thermal imaging to identify the most agitated clusters in the crowd and deploying sustenance units to those exact locations, the Guard drained the tactical energy from the riot before it could even begin. This represents a massive strategic shift in modern warfare. In the past, military force was about kinetic energy bullets and bombs. Today, it is about information dominance and atmospheric control. The federal agents.
By someone who should not have been in our country. Yet, he was released, flown to Maryland, where he committed this violent murder. I just want you to hear from, Tammy. Tammy represents not only herself and her family, but all of the great angel moms around this country who have suffered because of what the Biden administration did, and it is over.
Relying on 20th century riot tactics, we're simply outmatched by 21st century psychological dominance and state-level defiance. Look at the technology used here. The Guard utilized secure, mesh-networked communication systems that the federal agents couldn't jam without disrupting their own signals. They used tactical drones to map the mood of the street, allowing commanders to move resources to hotspots before they ignited.
In a heavily Somali area of Minneapolis,